Dear spectators of the human tragedy. Ah, the sweet taste of triumph, the nectar of power dripping from the chalice of banishment. I cast you out, didn't I? Like a king exiling a fool from his court. The thrill of it was electric, a symphony of vindication playing in my veins. I reveled in my authority, my dominion over your very existence. You were nothing but a shadow, a whisper in the wind, and I, the storm that swept you away. But oh, how cruelly ironic it is, this isolation that I once wore like a crown. In the silence that followed, I found myself standing amidst echoes, a desolate throne room echoing with memories of laughter now turned to dust. And for what? What is a throne without a court? What is power when it breeds nothing but loneliness? The void you left behind is a chasm that swallows my triumph whole. I am left to wander through the ruins of my own making, a specter haunting the halls of my mind. Each step I take is a reminder that I am now the one shivering in the cold embrace of solitude. Solitude, they say, is a double-edged sword. It cuts both ways, doesn't it? I wielded my pride like a weapon, and now it pierces my very soul. The cost of my arrogance is steep, and I am the one who pays the price. I stand here, stripped of the warmth of companionship, as the chill of isolation seeps into my bones. I was the architect of your downfall, yet here I am, trapped in the very prison I built. The power I reveled in has turned to ash, leaving only the bitter taste of regret. Oh, how the heart longs for connection. In those quiet moments, I hear whispers of our shared laughter, the camaraderie that once lit up the dark corners of my existence. Now, those memories are like ghosts, haunting the edges of my consciousness. I grasp at shadows, but they slip through my fingers like grains of sand. The warmth of companionship is a distant memory, and I shiver in its absence. Each recollection is a reminder of the bond we shared, now severed by my own hand. I feel the weight of my choices pressing down upon me, a heavy cloak of despair. I am the anti-hero of my own story, lost in a narrative I crafted with such precision. There is a strange beauty in this turmoil, a twisted poetry that arises from the wreckage of my ambition. I am left to confront the darkness within, to wrestle with the demons of my own making. The realization washes over me like cold water. I have built my own isolation, and now I must navigate its treacherous waters. But perhaps, in this solitude, there lies a flicker of strength. A chance to embrace the darkness that surrounds me. It is in the depths of despair that the true self is revealed, stripped of pretenses and facades. I stand alone, but in this loneliness, I find clarity. I am no longer bound by the expectations of others. I am free to explore the shadows, to confront the very essence of what it means to be human. So let the world watch as I shiver in isolation, let them see the anti-hero laid bare. There is power in this vulnerability, a strength that arises from acknowledging the cost of my choices. I may have cast you out, but in this desolate landscape of my soul, I am the one grappling with the weight of my own actions. The irony is not lost on me. I am both the king and the beggar, the master and the prisoner. In this darkness, I will forge a new path, one that leads to understanding, even as the shadows beckon me closer. Ah, the illusion of strength, how it dances before my eyes like a mirage in the desert of my despair. I once believed that isolation was a fortress, a bastion of power that no one could breach. The silence, I thought, would echo my triumph, a symphony of solitude that celebrated my dominion over others. But now, that silence is a haunting melody, a dirge for the connections I severed with my own hands. In the beginning, I wore my loneliness like a badge of honor. I was the lone wolf, the solitary star in a sky of fading lights. It was intoxicating, this sense of control. I reveled in the power to dictate the fates of those around me, to bend their will to my own. But power is a fickle mistress, isn't it? It slips away as easily as sand through clenched fingers. I grasped at dominance, only to find it turning to dust in my palm. As I traverse this desolate landscape of my own making, I encounter ghosts, former allies, once willing to walk beside me in shadows now cast long and twisted. They look at me with eyes filled with fear, disdain, the remnants of respect now tainted by my choices. Each glance is a knife, a reminder that I am no longer the figure they once admired, but a cautionary tale whispered in the dark. Their isolation mirrors my own, a reflection in a shattered mirror, and I am left to wonder, was this the legacy I sought? What a bitter irony it is, to wield the sword of control only to be left vulnerable and exposed. I thought I could forge my destiny, but destiny has a way of turning the tables. I stand at the precipice of my own ruin, questioning the price of my choices. Every moment of power came at a cost, and that cost is now a heavy shackle around my spirit. I am the architect of my own demise, and in this realization, I find a strange, twisted clarity. In the depths of this solitude, I confront my own demons, those insidious whispers that tell me I am strong, that I need no one, that I can reign supreme in my isolation. But such delusions crumble under the weight of truth. Strength does not come from the absence of companionship. It is born from the bonds we forge, the connections we nurture. I may have cast aside those who once stood by my side, but in doing so, I cast away pieces of my own humanity. There is a darkness that envelopes me now, a shroud woven from the threads of my own making. I feel it wrap around my heart, squeezing tighter with every passing moment. In this cavern of despair, I am left to ponder what true strength means. Is it the ability to stand alone, to weather the storm without a soul to lean on? Or is it the courage to embrace vulnerability, to admit that even the mightiest of kings can stumble? And thus, I am left alone with my thoughts, my internal dialogue a cacophony of regret and defiance. The power I once relished is now a distant memory, a fleeting shadow in the rearview mirror of my life. I am a puppet master without strings, a king without a court, and yet, in this desolation, I find an ember of resilience. Isolation may be a dark companion, but it is also a mirror. It reflects the truths I have long ignored, the choices that have led me to this point. I am both the villain and the victim, the conqueror and the conquered. In this intricate dance of power and pride, I must find the way to reclaim my narrative, to redefine what it means to be strong in a world that revels in the isolation of its players. So let the shadows close in around me, let the darkness seep into my bones. I shall embrace it, for it is in the depths of this solitude that I will discover the true strength that lies buried within. My journey is far from over. It is merely the beginning of a new chapter, one where I will rise from the ashes of my own hubris and confront the very essence of what it means to wield power. The shadows linger as silent witnesses to the choices I made, whispering secrets of bonds once forged in the fires of loyalty, now extinguished to embers. I find myself drifting through a landscape painted with the hues of nostalgia, where laughter and camaraderie once echoed like a sweet melody. But now, that song is replaced by the haunting notes of absence, a requiem for the connection I so carelessly severed. The ghosts of those who once stood by my side are scattered like ashes in the wind, each memory a dagger that pierces the heart of my solitude. In this hollow space, the warmth of companionship feels like a distant star, flickering in a sky heavy with clouds of regret. I recall moments where our laughter intertwined like vines, strong and unyielding. We shared battles, dreams, and the thrill of shared victories. Yet, in my quest for dominance, I allowed pride to blind me, to convince me that I could thrive in isolation. I was wrong. Now, the chill of solitude wraps around me like a thick fog, suffocating every breath I take, each inhalation a reminder of what I've lost. There are times when the shadows seem to morph into old friends, beckoning me to remember the warmth of those connections. They whisper sweet nothings, coaxing out the vulnerability I try so desperately to bury. I feel the weight of their absence, a heavy cloak that drags on the ground, reminding me of the strength I willingly cast aside. Loneliness is a cruel mistress, one that twists the knife of my choices deeper with every passing day. I long for the laughter that once filled the air, the shared glances that spoke volumes without uttering a word. But in this solitude, I discover moments of weakness, those cracks in my facade where the light of longing seeps through. I am not immune to the pangs of connection, despite my self-imposed exile. There are nights when I sit in the dark, the silence deafening, and I ache for the touch of a hand, the sound of a voice that understands the depths of my turmoil. I remember how we would conquer the world together, how each triumph tasted sweeter when shared. Yet here I am, a solitary figure, my victories hollow, the echoes of the past taunting me in the stillness. The shadows around me begin to take on a different form, a metaphor for the relationships I abandoned in my pursuit of power. They dance like phantoms, remnants of forgotten bonds that now haunt my every thought. Each flicker of movement serves as a reminder that the strength I sought to cultivate has withered, choked by the very pride that once fueled my ambitions. I am left to confront the chilling truth. In casting others aside, I have not only lost them but a part of myself, my humanity, my ability to connect. Yet, amid this darkness, there lies a glimmer of understanding. It is in the depths of my isolation that I begin to comprehend the delicate balance between power and connection. True strength, I realize, is not wielding influence over others. It is the courage to embrace the vulnerability that comes with forging relationships, even at the risk of heartbreak. I stand at a crossroads, where the path of ambition diverges from the road of companionship, and I am forced to reckon with the consequences of my choices. As I navigate this labyrinth of memories, I find solace in the shadows, in the understanding that I am not alone in my sorrow. Every figure that dances in the darkness serves as a reminder of what I once had and what I may yet reclaim. The journey through isolation may be painful, but it is necessary. For in mourning those lost connections, I also unearth the strength buried beneath layers of pride and hubris. So I embrace the darkness, not as a foe, but as a teacher. The shadows become my companions in this introspective journey. They guide me to confront the echoes of my past, to acknowledge the price of my choices. And as I stand in this void, I find a flicker of hope, a defiance against the isolation that sought to consume me. I will rise from these ashes, transformed not just by solitude, but by the lessons it imparts. I am both the architect of my isolation and the sculptor of my redemption, ready to redefine what it means to wield true power. The delightful irony of watching those who once stood tall, now cowering beneath the weight of their own arrogance. It's a twisted form of justice, isn't it? They thought they could dance on the edge of power without consequence, spinning webs of deceit as if they were immune to the very fabric of fate. But here I stand, a silent observer of their unraveling, a dark delight blooming in the pit of my stomach as I witness their fall from grace. Isolation is a cruel mistress, indeed, yet it is not without its pleasures. I find a perverse satisfaction in their isolation, like a predator savoring the taste of its prey. Each shudder, each whisper of fear among those who once laughed in my face, is a symphony that plays to my soul. They turned me into a pariah, cast me aside like a tattered cloak, but now the tables have turned. Their arrogance has become their shackle, and I stand here, relishing the sight of them bound by their own hubris. The world can be a stage, and how foolish they were to think they were the stars of the show. Now, they sit in the shadows, their brilliance dimmed, their laughter replaced by the echoes of their own misjudgments. Power, it seems, is a fickle mistress, and it has abandoned them in their hour of need. They danced in the light, but now, they shiver in the cold embrace of solitude, a bitter reminder that they, too, are not immune to the consequences of their actions. Karma, that relentless force, is a patient hunter. It circles, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. I see them now, those once mighty figures, reduced to shadows of their former selves, their pride a heavy anchor dragging them into the depths of despair. It is amusing, really, to witness the very thing they so casually dismissed, the notion that one's actions could ripple through time, returning to haunt like a specter. They believed they could cast me out, but in doing so, they unwittingly set the stage for their own downfall. Let's not pretend there's anything noble about this pleasure I take. It is a dark delight, yes, but also a reminder that I am not the only one who knows the taste of isolation. They are now the architects of their own loneliness, and I, the silent witness to the reckoning they so richly deserve. In their downfall, I see the reflection of my own choices, each misstep a reminder that we are all players in this grotesque dance of power and consequence. But here's the kicker: their suffering is not without its own moral ambiguity. I revel in their despair, but I am not blind to the cost. Every sneer, every pang of schadenfreude, carries with it the weight of my own decisions. I am reminded that gloating over their isolation does not erase my own. Their suffering becomes a mirror, reflecting back the darkness I harbor within. Yet, in this chaotic symphony of isolation and downfall, I find a twisted sense of clarity. The web of connections I once severed now lies tangled beneath the weight of pride, and I am left to consider the fragile nature of dominance. True strength does not come from the ability to cast others aside, but rather from the courage to face the consequences of such actions. I watch them shiver in their own isolation, and in that moment, I understand something profound. The pleasure I derive from their downfall is fleeting, a shadow that dances briefly before fading into the night. What remains is the stark reality that power is not an end in itself, it is a double-edged sword that cuts both ways. So, let them shiver in the cold embrace of their own making. As they sit in their self-imposed exile, I will continue to confront the shadows of my own past, the choices that led me here. The darkness may whisper sweet nothings of revenge and satisfaction, but I know the truth: every action has its consequence, and every moment of delight is tempered by the knowledge that I, too, am a prisoner of my own making. In this dance of isolation, we are all bound, caught in the web of our choices, and as I stand at the precipice of this realization, I find a strange sense of freedom. I am both a witness to their suffering and the architect of my own redemption, poised to embrace the darkness that fuels my rise. The shadows are my companions now, guiding me through the depths of despair, teaching me the lessons that power and pride often obscure. I will rise, not just from their ashes, but from my own. Ah, the price of dominance, a toll that weighs heavier than gold. In my pursuit of power, I thought I could dance with the shadows, wielding control like a blade. Yet, here I stand, surrounded by the echoes of my own arrogance, a king without a kingdom, a tyrant in a desolate throne room. The walls whisper my name, but they do so with a reverence twisted by the chains of solitude. Power, my dear audience, is an intoxicating elixir, and I drank deeply. I reveled in the thrill of commanding fear, the rush of having others bend to my will. But as I climbed higher, I began to notice something. The very air became thin, the light dimmed, and I found myself isolated in a tower built of ambition. The view from the top is magnificent, yes, but the price? Oh, the price is a barren landscape of lost connections, a wasteland where once vibrant relationships lay in ruins. True victory, I've come to learn, is not about standing atop the corpses of those I've cast aside. It's not about the fleeting moments of triumph celebrated in silence. No, true victory resides in the heart, in the warmth of shared laughter, in the embrace of those who stand by you in the dark. And yet, I chose the cold embrace of dominion, and now I shiver, not from the chill of the night, but from the stark loneliness that envelopes me. The emotional toll of my choices weighs heavily, each decision echoing through the corridors of my mind. I thought I could sever ties without consequence, but the chains of regret bind tighter with every passing day. I see their faces in my dreams, those I pushed away, those I deemed unworthy of my time. Each visage is a ghost, a reminder that I am not just a master of my fate, I am also the architect of my desolation. What is the cost of ambition, you ask? It's the hollow laughter in the night, the silence that follows a triumphant moment, the realization that the crown I wear is made of thorns. Each prick is a reminder of what I sacrificed at the altar of power. I wielded my influence like a sword, but now I bear the scars of my choices, each one a testament to the blood spilled in my relentless quest for dominance. And yet, I find myself in a peculiar predicament. As I gaze into the abyss of my own making, I discover a twisted sense of clarity. The darkness that envelopes me is not just a prison, it is a mirror reflecting the very essence of my being. In solitude, I confront the shadows that linger at the edges of my mind, the whispers of doubt that echo through the empty halls of my heart. Embracing this darkness, I find strength I never knew existed. It is in this void that I can truly see the folly of my actions, the fragility of the power I so desperately sought. The pursuit of dominance is a cruel mistress, and those who chase her will find that she leaves only ashes in her wake. But I am not merely a victim of my own hubris, I am also a witness to my own evolution. In this dance of isolation, I learn that true strength lies not in conquering others, but in the ability to confront the self. I am both the predator and the prey, caught in a web of my own design. And as I navigate through this darkness, I begin to understand that the chains of ambition can also be the keys to liberation. So, let them whisper my name in fear, let them tremble at the mention of my power. For in their isolation, I see the truth of my own existence. Each moment spent in solitude is also a moment of introspection, a chance to peel back the layers of pride and uncover the raw, unfiltered essence of who I am. The echoes of my past choices resonate within me, and in their haunting refrain, I find the strength to rise anew. In the end, the cost of dominance may be steep, but it is also a path to understanding. As I embrace the darkness, I learn to wield it not as a weapon but as a shield, a means to protect the flickering flame of connection that remains. I will rise from this solitude, not as a tyrant, but as a being forged in the fires of my own making, ready to confront the shadows and emerge into the light. In the quiet, where the echoes of my past decisions linger like fading ghosts, I find a profound stillness. The shadows that once haunted me, clawing at the edges of my sanity, now cradle me like old friends. Yes, I have embraced the darkness, and in its cold embrace, I discover a twisted comfort. Here, in this void, I am free from the clamor of ambition that once drove me to madness. Power has a way of isolating the soul, but it is in that very isolation that I unearth my true self. The darkness I once feared is merely a reflection of the world I have crafted. It is a canvas painted with the colors of betrayal and ambition, a stark reminder of the price I paid for my reign. Yet, as I stand amidst this shadowy realm, I realize that the fear I once felt is but a flickering candle in the tempest of my mind. It reveals what I have overlooked, the strength that lies dormant within the depths of despair. Introspection becomes my ally, guiding me through the labyrinth of my thoughts. Each turn reveals the scars of my past, the remnants of choices made in haste. I had thought that to dominate was to conquer, to crush those who dared to rise against me. But now, in this solitude, I see the folly of that belief. It is not in the act of crushing that one finds power, but in the acceptance of one's own vulnerabilities. The shadows whisper secrets that the light hides away. They tell tales of lost connections, of laughter that once danced in the air like fireflies. These memories, though tinged with sadness, are not suffocating, they are liberating. I learn that it is in the acknowledgement of loss that I find the seed of rebirth. Each moment I spend in this darkness is a moment spent peeling back the layers of my own arrogance, revealing the raw flesh of humanity beneath. I am both the architect of my isolation and the prisoner of my own making. Yet, within these confines, I discover a strength I never knew I possessed. The darkness does not suffocate, it empowers. It teaches me that solitude can be a forge, sharpening the edges of my resolve and illuminating the shadows of my past. Here, I am not alone, I am an audience to my own transformation. As I delve deeper into this abyss, I find solace in the acceptance of my choices. The weight of my past no longer drags me down, it lifts me, soaring towards an understanding of my own nature. The chains of my ambition, once a source of torment, become instruments of clarity. They bind me, yes, but they also anchor me, reminding me of where I have been and where I choose to go. Let the world outside tremble at my name, let them whisper tales of my tyranny. For in their fear, I find my liberation. I realize that true power does not lie in the control of others, but in the mastery of oneself, an intricate dance with shadows that reveals both strength and frailty. I am forged not just in the fires of ambition, but also in the quiet moments of reflection that only solitude can provide. The darkness is not just a void, it is a sanctuary. In this refuge, I confront the whispers of my past, the echoes of laughter, the ghosts of friendships lost. I learn to embrace the discomfort of solitude, transforming it into a canvas for self-discovery. Each brushstroke of despair is a testament to my journey, a reminder that even in the depths of darkness, there lies a flicker of light waiting to be ignited. And so, dear audience, I invite you to confront your own shadows. Embrace the silence, for it is there that you will find the strength to rise. The darkness is not the enemy, it is a mirror reflecting the truths we often hide from ourselves. In the end, it is not the isolation that defines us, but how we choose to navigate through it. I will emerge from this solitude, not as a tyrant, but as a being reborn, ready to face the world anew, armed with the wisdom that only the embrace of darkness can bestow. In the aftermath of my isolation, I stand before a mirror made of shattered glass, each fragment reflecting a piece of a soul once vibrant, but now cloaked in shadows. The haunting echoes of my past ripple through the silence, whispering tales of choices made and paths taken. I am both the artist and the canvas, painted in strokes of regret and defiance. The weight of my revelations lingers heavily, a constant reminder of the price of my past ambitions. Isolation has a way of stripping away the layers we so carefully construct. Beneath the bravado and the mask of dominance, I find the raw truth, a bitter taste of understanding that seeps into every corner of my mind. It is in this solitude that I confront the monsters I once unleashed upon others, those very demons that now dance in the corners of my own existence, laughing at the irony of it all. I was the puppet master, pulling strings with reckless abandon, and yet here I am, tangled in my own web of machinations. The shadows hold a mirror to my choices, reflecting the faces of those I once considered allies. Their fear now wraps around them like a shroud, and I am left to ponder the nature of their disdain. I once reveled in their admiration, but now it feels like a distant echo, a fading melody that no longer brings solace. They cast me out, thinking they would find peace, but they too are marionettes, dancing to the same tune of isolation. The chains of arrogance have bound them, just as they did me, and the haunting truth is that we are all prisoners of our own design. As I wrestle with the shadows of my past, I am confronted with a bittersweet realization. In this solitude, I have unearthed a deeper understanding of myself. The darkness, once a source of fear, has transformed into a teacher. It whispers truths that the light conceals, lessons hidden in the depths of despair. I begin to see that isolation is not merely a punishment, but a crucible for self-discovery. It is in these moments of solitude that I grasp the gravity of my actions, the ripples they create in the vast sea of existence. I challenge you, audience, to reflect on your own choices. What shadows do you harbor? What truths do you hide beneath the facade of normalcy? The heart of isolation beats within us all, urging us to confront the consequences of our actions. It offers no judgment, only clarity, a chance to peel back the layers and expose the raw essence of who we truly are. In this haunting reflection, I find a strange solace. The laughter of lost friendships echoes like a distant storm, reminding me of the warmth that once enveloped my soul. Yet with each memory comes a pang of longing, a reminder of the connections severed by ambition and pride. I stand at the crossroads of nostalgia and regret, grappling with the knowledge that true strength lies not in the conquest of others, but in the mastery of oneself. The shadows are not merely remnants of what was lost, they are a testament to what can be reborn. I learned to find beauty in the darkness, to embrace the pain as a catalyst for growth. Each scar tells a story, a chapter in the narrative of a life lived boldly, even if it led to moments of profound loneliness. It is through this acceptance that I transform the weight of my past into a wellspring of strength. As I navigate the labyrinth of my own making, I emerge not as a tyrant but as a warrior of wisdom. The lessons etched into my psyche are the true treasures of solitude. They guide me, illuminating the path ahead, reminding me that in every shadow, there exists a glimmer of understanding. The darkness is not an end but a beginning, a fertile ground for the seeds of redemption to take root. So, I implore you to embrace your own shadows. Let the silence speak, let the darkness reveal. For it is here, in the haunting reflection of isolation, that we can truly understand the depths of our existence. The lessons are waiting, the truths are begging to be uncovered. In the end, it is not the solitude that defines us, but the courage we muster to rise from it, transformed and resolute. Share this message if you believe that true strength is forged in the depths of darkness. Leave a comment about how you've confronted your own shadows and emerged stronger. Subscribe for more raw reflections and insights that challenge the status quo. Remember, it's not the isolation that defines us, but the relentless resolve to rise from it, transformed and unyielding. Embrace the chaos. Embrace your truth.